We think depression means staying in bed, but psychology reveals the deepest depression hides behind perfect productivity. You answer every email, meet every deadline, and carry everyone. Yet, sitting alone in your car before going inside, you feel completely empty. If you keep using success to mask this exhaustion, you will quietly disappear entirely. Today, we will decode these hidden signs and find your way out. Before we begin, tell me what state or city in the US you are in tonight. Because wherever you are in this rushing country, I am sending you a warm hug. High-functioning depression does not always look like someone falling apart. Sometimes, it looks like someone who answers every email, meets every deadline, remembers every birthday, pays every bill, and still feels as if something inside them is quietly disappearing. You may be the person everyone depends on. You may appear calm, capable, organized, even successful. But when the day becomes quiet and there is no one left to help or reassure, you may feel the weight you have been hiding from everyone, including yourself. These 7 signs are not a diagnosis. They are an invitation to notice what your strength may be covering. Sometimes the most painful depression is not the kind that stops a person from functioning. It is the kind that teaches them to function so well that no one thinks to ask whether they are suffering. The first sign is an obsession with the meaninglessness of time. You keep moving because stopping feels dangerous. Your calendar is full. Your task list is always growing. You wake up thinking about what must be completed, fixed, answered, improved, or controlled. You move through the day like sand rushing through a broken hourglass, terrified that if you slow down, you will realize how little of your life you feel connected to. You may accomplish everything you planned. You may receive praise. You may reach the goal you worked toward for months. But instead of satisfaction, there is only brief relief, followed by the same hollow question. Was that it? The achievement that was supposed to make you feel worthy becomes another box checked. The promotion becomes another responsibility. The finished project becomes something you immediately criticize. Even rest feels like wasted time, because your mind has learned to measure your value through productivity. This is where depression can combine with imposter feelings. No achievement feels real because some part of you believes you fooled everyone into thinking you are more capable than you are. You tell yourself your success was luck, timing, or other people being generous. Because the accomplishment never reaches the place inside you that feels empty, you chase another one. From the outside, this looks like ambition. Inside, it can feel like running on a treadmill in a dark room. You are exhausted, but afraid to step off because you do not know who you are when you are not producing. The problem is not that you care about your goals. The problem is that your goals have become evidence in a trial where you must prove that your existence has value. You are not living through your days. You are surviving them, organizing them, and getting them over with. The second sign is a cruel inner voice that never sleeps. You may be patient with everyone except yourself. When a friend makes a mistake, you understand the pressure they were under. When a coworker struggles, you remind them that they are human. When someone you love fails, you offer compassion. But when you make the same mistake, your mind becomes a courtroom. You replay what happened. You question your intelligence. You use words against yourself that you would never use against another person. One awkward conversation becomes proof that you are unlikable. One missed deadline becomes proof that you are unreliable. One tired morning becomes proof that you are lazy. The judge inside you does not care about context. It does not consider your exhaustion, grief, loneliness, or how long you have been carrying too much. It only demands a sentence. Be better, work harder, need less, make no mistakes. This inner cruelty is often a form of psychological compensation. When you feel empty or unworthy inside, perfection becomes armor. You try to make your outside life so polished that no one can see the pain underneath. You become dependable because you fear that having needs will make you a burden. You become accomplished because you fear that being ordinary will make you invisible. You become agreeable because disappointing people might give them a reason to leave. But perfection does not heal shame. It feeds it. Every impossible standard creates another opportunity to fail. Every small failure strengthens the belief that you are not enough. Every time you attack yourself, you lose more of the emotional energy you need to recover. You may believe this voice keeps you disciplined. You may fear that without it, you would become weak, careless, or selfish. But cruelty is not discipline. Shame is not motivation. A person can grow without being humiliated by their own mind. The first step is not to silence the voice completely. It is to notice that the voice is not the whole truth. It may be an old survival strategy, built during years when approval felt conditional and mistakes felt unsafe. It may sound powerful, but it is often frightened. Beneath all that criticism is not a person who needs more punishment. It is a person who has been trying to earn the right to rest. The third sign is an exhausting loop of overthinking. A short message without an emoji, a coworker's distant expression, a small change in someone's tone. To another person, these moments may pass without meaning, but inside your mind, they can become the beginning of an entire disaster. You wonder whether you said something wrong. You replay the conversation from every angle. By 2 in the morning, one ordinary interaction has become evidence that someone is angry with you, disappointed in you, or preparing to leave. You may know the reaction is larger than the situation. That awareness does not stop it. It creates another layer of shame. You criticize yourself for being too sensitive, while your nervous system continues sounding an alarm you cannot switch off. This can happen when a depleted brain loses its ability to separate a minor concern from a genuine threat. When depression has been draining your energy for a long time, small uncertainties begin to feel unbearable, because you no longer have the emotional reserves to hold them calmly. Your sympathetic nervous system is designed to help you survive danger, but when it stays activated for too long, it can begin treating ordinary life like an emergency. You may look composed while your body is bracing for impact. Overthinking often disguises itself as preparation. You tell yourself that if you analyze everything carefully enough, you can prevent rejection, failure, embarrassment, or pain. But the mind cannot solve uncertainty by creating more uncertainty. It only tightens the knot. Healing may begin with a smaller question. Instead of asking, "What is the worst thing this could mean?" ask, "What do I actually know right now?" It may not erase the fear, but it can return you to the present. The fourth sign is pain that other people keep denying. Perhaps you once tried to tell someone that you were struggling. You said you felt tired, numb, or overwhelmed. They looked at your career, family, home, or achievements and asked, "What do you have to be depressed about?" Maybe they intended to reassure you. Instead, they taught you that your pain would only be believed if your life visibly collapsed. This creates a particular kind of prison. You become trapped inside the image of the capable person. People assume that because you are functioning, you must be fine. Because you still laugh, you cannot be deeply sad. Because you continue helping others, you cannot be running out of strength. Society often imagines depression as someone who cannot get out of bed, stops working, and cries openly. Those experiences are real, but they are not the only way depression appears. Some people suffer in pressed clothes. Some lead meetings, raise children, comfort friends, and then sit alone in their car because it is the only place they do not have to perform. Your competence can become camouflage. Eventually, you may stop asking for help because every attempt feels like defending your right to hurt. You say you are only tired. You joke about stress. You call it a busy week, even when the heaviness has lasted for years. This is perfect isolation. You are surrounded by people who know your responsibilities and achievements, but not your internal life. The better you perform, the less likely anyone is to recognize what the performance is costing you. You do not need to prove your suffering by becoming less successful. Pain is not invalidated by talent, gratitude, or achievement. A person can appreciate what they have and still be unwell. The fifth sign is chronic emotional numbness. You attend the birthday dinner. You laugh when everyone else laughs. You take photographs and respond at the right moments. Yet inside, it feels as though you are watching life through thick glass. The room has color, but you cannot feel it. Happiness, sadness, excitement, anger, and affection begin blending into the same gray distance. Music may stop reaching you. Food becomes texture without comfort. Hobbies feel like obligations. Even time with people you love may leave you guilty because you know you should feel more than you do. This loss of pleasure is often called anhedonia. Emotional numbness can be the brain's attempt to protect you. When pain becomes too intense or constant, the nervous system may lower the volume on everything, like pulling a circuit breaker to stop the house from burning down. But it cannot disconnect only the painful emotions. The same switch that dulls grief can also dull joy. The wall that blocks disappointment may block closeness. You survive by feeling less, and then wonder why nothing feels alive. This numbness does not mean you are cold, ungrateful, or incapable of love. It may mean you have been overwhelmed for so long that your system no longer feels safe enough to open. You do not have to force yourself to feel happiness on command. Begin by noticing smaller sensations without judging them. Warm water on your hands, sunlight through a window, the weight of a blanket, a familiar voice. Recovery does not always return as sudden joy. Sometimes, it begins as one quiet moment that feels slightly less empty than the moment before. The sixth sign is using harmful forms of relief to numb what you cannot explain. At the end of the day, silence may feel more frightening than exhaustion. The moment the room becomes quiet, thoughts you have been outrunning begin to return. So you reach for something that will make the next few hours easier to survive. It may be alcohol, it may be nicotine, food, endless work, compulsive shopping, or a relationship that repeatedly hurts you. Sometimes it is simply staying busy until your body is too tired to think. From the outside, these habits can look like pleasure, ambition, or a normal way to unwind. But somewhere inside, you know you are not reaching for joy. You are reaching for anesthesia. There is a difference between choosing something because it enriches your life and choosing it because you cannot tolerate being alone with your mind. The behavior becomes a painkiller, but the painkiller does not heal the wound. It only delays the moment when you must feel it again. This is why unhealthy coping can feel like drinking salt water when you are thirsty. For a moment, you feel occupied, distracted, or briefly soothed. But afterward, you are more depleted than before. The shame grows, the emptiness returns, and now there is another consequence to manage. You may promise yourself that tomorrow will be different. You will drink less, work fewer hours, stop answering that person, or go to bed on time. But tomorrow arrives with the same internal ache, and the habit once again appears to offer the fastest escape. This does not mean you lack willpower. It means the behavior is serving a psychological function. It is helping you avoid an emotion, memory, fear, or sensation that feels too large to face without support. The question is not only, how do I stop doing this? A more compassionate question is, what does this help me avoid feeling? Perhaps it protects you from loneliness. Perhaps it gives you temporary relief from self-hatred. Perhaps it creates intensity when everything else feels numb. Perhaps it allows you to collapse without admitting that you need rest. When you understand the need beneath the behavior, you can begin searching for relief that does not punish you afterward. That may mean speaking honestly with someone you trust, working with a mental health professional, changing your environment, or creating a small routine that helps your body feel safe before the silence begins. You do not have to remove your coping mechanism before you have another source of support. Healing is not about ripping away the only raft you have. It is about slowly building something stronger beneath you. The seventh sign is escaping into digital worlds, because real life feels too heavy. You tell yourself you will watch one episode, play for 30 minutes, or scroll until you feel sleepy. Then you look at the time and it is 4 in the morning. You are exhausted, but you do not stop. The show is no longer interesting. The game is no longer fun. The endless stream of videos is not even holding your attention. Still, turning off the screen feels unbearable, because the moment it goes dark, you are alone with yourself again. This kind of escape can resemble mild dissociation. You are physically present, but psychologically far away. Passive entertainment becomes a train with no final station. As long as you remain on it, you do not have to return to the life waiting outside the screen. Technology is not the enemy. Stories, games, and online communities can provide real connection, comfort, and creativity. The warning sign appears when entertainment stops helping you live and starts helping you disappear. You may lose hours because time feels easier to tolerate when you are not fully inside it. You may become attached to fictional characters because their emotions feel safer than your own. You may scroll through other people's lives because observing them is less demanding than participating in yours. Then morning comes, and the exhaustion deepens. You criticize yourself for wasting another night. You struggle through the day with even less energy, which makes the next escape more tempting. The cycle continues, not because you are lazy, but because reality has begun to feel like a place you can only visit briefly. The answer is not to shame yourself for needing escape. Human beings have always needed ways to rest from pain. The question is whether your escape returns you to yourself or carries you farther away. Try creating a gentler landing before you turn off the screen. Lower the lights. Put both feet on the floor. Take one slow breath. Write down the thought you are afraid will return. Tell yourself that you do not have to solve your entire life tonight. Even 5 conscious minutes before sleep can begin teaching your nervous system that returning to yourself does not always lead to danger. If you recognize yourself in several of these 7 signs, please do not use this video as another reason to judge yourself. High-functioning depression is not a failure of gratitude, discipline, or character. It is often what happens when a person has learned to carry pain without allowing it to interrupt their responsibilities. You kept going because something depended on you. You smiled because someone needed reassurance. You performed because falling apart did not feel like an available option. That strength may have protected you, But strength is not meant to become a life sentence. You are allowed to be tired before you collapse. You are allowed to ask for help before your life becomes visibly unmanageable. You are allowed to say that something hurts even when you cannot explain why. You do not need to earn care by becoming worse. Recovery may not begin with a dramatic breakthrough. It may begin with one honest sentence spoken to the right person. I am functioning, but I am not okay. It may begin with scheduling an appointment, answering a trusted friend honestly, or admitting that the way you have been living is no longer sustainable. If your thoughts ever become dangerous, or you feel that you may harm yourself, contact emergency services or a crisis support line in your area immediately. You deserve support in the moment you need it, not only after you have reached your limit. And if this video described a part of your life that no one else seems to see, you are invited to share your story in the comments. Even if all you can write is, "I understand." Your words may help another person realize that they are not alone. Subscribe if you want more conversations that name the quiet struggles people often hide behind capable lives. You are not broken because you became good at surviving, but you deserve more than survival.